Hello, everybody. Welcome to Who the Hell Asked, a news grab bag once again. I'm here with Slade. How you doing, Slade?
Doing pretty fantastic today. We got a lot of stuff to cover for you guys today this past week. Pretty busy news week. So without further ado, let's start with what started out our week. The Pokemon Presents.
So we got a few unique announcements. Nothing too spectacular. We got the funnily named Pokemon Go Plus Plus.
Yeah, the Plus Plus, which is a pretty crazy name, like you were saying.
Which interacts with Pokemon Sleep. That's right.
The project we all thought was dead.
Yeah.
But it looks like its death was just greatly exaggerated.
It was greatly exaggerated. Yeah, Pokemon Sleep. It's a sleeping app, I guess. It's in the name. So
I guess it measures your sleep and then gives you like a rare Pokemon. It's got Pokemon Go integration. I know that much.
Everything has Pokemon Go integration.
I mean, you're not wrong. But outside of that, we also got the Scarlet and Violet DLC, as well as their release dates, which surprisingly they're giving Game Freak time to actually work on these, which is pretty insane.
Yeah, just a little bit of time. We have the Teal Mask coming in fall 2023, and the Indigo Disc winter 2023. And guess what, Slade? It's $35. For the combo.
So price increase for the DLC if you compare it to the Sword and Shield DLC, it increased by $5, which I think the logic was they wanted to charge half the price of a full game for both DLC packs.
Even though Scarlet and Violet is only $60 and not $70.
Which leads to my claim that every Pokemon game moving forward will cost $70. And it won't just be Tears of the Kingdom.
Every mainline game.
Yes, mainline. I guess we should add that caveat.
Well, but, if they do another Legends or another like Let's Go game, even though it doesn't look like they will, but if they do, maybe those will probably be 70. Who knows?
Yeah. So pretty a bit of unfortunate news considering that it seems like they're going to start upcharging, even though Scarlet and Violet has proven that they really don't care to put the time and the effort they need into these kinds of things, and now they're going to start charging more for it.
Yeah, and speaking of things that looked like it had a little bit of time and effort put in, we got Pokemon Concierge, which is an interesting stop-motion Netflix series thing?
Yeah, which I think stop motion is pretty interesting.
Yeah,
in terms of like being animation stuff. I know the new Puss in Boots movies, seeing it used to like really great effect.
Yeah. This I bet you this will probably get canceled after one season because Lamau Netflix.
Yeah, Lamau Netflix indeed.
That seems to be the MO these days. And we got something a little interesting: the Pokemon TCG Classic set.
Yeah, which is pretty fascinating. According to Byron and sources, the cards won't be competitively legal.
Yes.
Because my initial take was that everybody who spent lots of money trying to get those Charizard cards were going to be mad salty.
Yeah.
But it looks like that won't be the case.
Yeah, so with this set, you will get a playboard, metal counters, which that's actually pretty cool. I'm surprised that's not a thing just for like base Pokemon TCG like counters and stuff. Toolbox for storing the stackable damage counters, the game board, and 3 TCG decks based on Venusaur, Charizard, and Blastoise, with each including a deck box for them.
That's right. So choose your starters wisely, people.
Or if you're Game Freak, you choose Charizard because Lamau.
All right, so let's keep along with the Nintendo theme train here. We also got the release date announced for the next pass of the Mario Kart 8 Deluxe DLC pass.
Yes, we did. Yes, we did. So it is coming out this Thursday. And we have 7 more revealed tracks besides Yoshi's Island, which looks incredible, by the way, still.
Yeah.
But the other tracks, we're going to get Riverside Park from Mario Kart Super Circuit, which I'm excited for. Because I love that track. It was one of the few tracks I actually liked in Super Circuit. DK Summit from Mario Kart Wii. Fine enough choice, I guess.
Yeah, that would be probably my non-Yoshi's Island favorite track.
Interesting. I always thought it was like a fine enough track, to me, honestly.
Yeah, it's okay. I'm not going to say the track's like super amazing, but in terms of all the tracks they presented, this would be the one to be like, yeah, I like this one.
Okay. We're getting Mario Circuit from Mario Kart DS, which again, that's another, at least for me, kind of hype pick. Because Mario Circuit DS is my favorite Mario Circuit. IMO. Yep. It's the best one. Don't at me. We're getting the return of Waluigi Stadium.
Yep, again. And I don't know. To me, I would rather have seen Wario Stadium 64, like something like that.
Or Wario Coliseum.
Yeah, Wario Coliseum also would be a pretty excellent, pick.
Yeah, and I
guess I get it.
Yeah, and I think this is the first GameCube track in the Booster Course Pass. I think.
I believe you are correct, which makes me even more sad because I feel like there's plenty of other GameCube tracks I would have preferred to have seen.
Here's my theory. We're gonna get a backload of GameCube tracks from Tour and whatnot.
Yeah. I guess I could see that, especially since at this point they have 6 more Tour tracks left outside.
Yeah, I think they have five Tour tracks left, maybe.
So they're gonna have to fill in some of those tracks with some other of those.
And I
imagine they're gonna dip into the 64 tracks too much.
Because obviously Dino Jungle is probably coming because that was in Tour.
Yeah.
So there's another GameCube track right there for you. Probably to come soon. But speaking of Mario Kart Tour, we are going to be getting Amsterdam Drift, Bangkok Rush, and Singapore Speedway. Which is, I think, the first time we're going to have 3 Tour tracks in a wave as opposed to 2.
That's right. They've been doing 2 up until this point. Which leads me to believe that they're probably just going to blow through all the Tour tracks right at the end of... we only got one or 2 more passes after this, right?
We have 2 more. We have Wave 5 and Wave 6. Yeah.
Yeah, so we only have 2 more waves left. So I imagine we're going to start seeing a lot more of the Tour tracks with the next, couple waves.
Yeah, because I think we have 5 city tracks left. Unless they put out some new tracks before then. And interesting enough, Slade, this is coming in March. I said this on my Twitch stream when I was playing Mario Kart last week. I now think if we get a March release, here's how I think it goes. We get Wave 5 probably in July, and then Wave 6 we're probably going to get in November.
Yeah, I'm inclined to agree with you. I think the timetables for both those waves makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
All things considering. But so I imagine we're probably going to be done with the B8 DLC at the end of this year, and then we probably won't hear about anything for Mario Kart for another 2+ years after that.
Yeah. I would be shocked if we heard about Mario Kart 10, Smash Kart, Nintendo Kart, whatever the hell Nintendo decides to do.
Whatever they're planning to do next, yeah.
Yeah, whatever they're planning.
I imagine it'll be a while. Their next console will be underway quite a bit more. I think we're a ways off of that.
Yeah, and speaking of Mario Kart, Slade, we got some news about Mario Kart 8 Wii, which is Nintendo took down Wii U games Mario Kart 8 and Splatoon offline over security issues.
That's right. For anybody who still somehow plays those their Wii U and plays those games, those lobbies are riddled with hackers and basically all the in regards to fucking trying to play any form of online race. So it seems like they took those out online. Yeah. To do some sort of maintenance to prevent hacking of that nature happening moving forward. Which,
Yeah, so
pretty nice considering, like, if you've anybody who's played like any Call of Duty on like the Xbox 360, like Modern Warfare 2, or whatever, those just are riddled with hackers as well, and they just get straight up ignored. So
Yeah.
I'm glad Nintendo is doing something for their older games, because that's not standard in the industry.
Yeah, and noted data miner Oatmeal Dome suggested the issue is, quote, almost certainly due to ENL buffer pwn, which is not great.
Yeah.
Man, nearly 8.5 million copies sold. Mario Kart 8 was biggest. And yeah, basically a good thing he's got shut down. I was thinking about trying to get some people together to memingly play Mario Kart 8 Wii U online one final time, but I guess that's not happening.
Fire hopping, right?
Fire hopping? Oh,
That'd
God.
be the only reason you'd want to play it, right?
Well, come on, for content. For content. But yeah, yeah, like Slade said, it's a good thing that these are getting patched for security issues, and apparently Nintendo have patched out this exploit from previous other games, including Mario Kart 7, Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, Animal Crossing New Horizons, Nintendo Switch Sports, which that's an interesting one, and Splatoons 2 and 3. So
that's right. So they're just going backwards into the Wii U, which again, pretty interesting considering most developers and companies kind of just ignore.
Most people have ignored the Wii U.
Yeah, so it's really interesting, but I don't think it's a bad thing. I think it's actually a good thing that they get some of their old games that anti-hacker attention.
Yeah, speaking of giving people good things, the good folks at Clever Endeavor have given us a no update for Ultimate Chicken Horse.
That's right. The Ultimate Chicken Horse Shellebration.
Yes.
You heard me right. We got a new character, which is the turtle.
The turtle.
With the new armadillo skin, a new level called Metro, and then a bunch of new outfits. So, yeah. Another free update. We thought that Ultimate Chicken Horse was done updating as of like a year and a half ago.
Yeah, September of 2021 was when we got the Hippo Party Plus update, which added the hippo, the roller coaster, I think a few new weapons, and yeah. So interesting to see this here. I know one person in particular is fucking so happy that the turtle is in this game. Shout out Steeler.
That's right. So we're finally going to get the race between the turtle and the hare.
Oh, yeah! I never thought about it like that.
Yeah, but ignoring that, no, it's great that this game's still getting updates. I kind of figured that Clever Endeavor was on to their next project at this point.
They still probably are, to be honest. Because they did in that, when they put out the blog for the Hippo Party Plus update, they did mention, yeah, we're on to a new project. And I know recently they had to change server infrastructures for this game because their old one was getting put out of commission. But it also did give them the ability to have Xbox crossplay, which is really cool.
Yeah, so now I think everybody can play with everybody, which is fantastic.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that is the case now, which is pretty dope. Look forward to that one in like 2 days. Yeah, but speaking of things, speaking of things that can no longer be looked forward to, Beyond the Summit. Who are they and what's happening, Slade?
Yeah, so Beyond the Summit is a tournament organizer that mainly does invitational tournaments for lots of esports like Dota, Smash, multiple fighting games, multiple
Counter-Strike.
It basically invites some of the best players in the world for each of their respective games. It kind of puts them in invitational tournaments, which is a really cool thing that they do, right? Yeah. Well, unfortunately, this is coming off the backs of the Panda Global controversy that we extensively covered all the way back in December and whatnot.
Yeah, the Panda Global Smash World Tour Nintendo controversy. So Beyond the Summit is closing their doors. They didn't take the VC approach, the venture capital approach, which is what has been funding a lot of esports, that in cryptocurrency. Shout outs to that absolute bullshittery that was FTX.
Yeah.
But yeah, they will be shutting their doors. They will be giving all of their full-time staff were notified in an all-hands-on meeting to ease the transition. BTS will be keeping all full-time staff on the payroll for the next 2 weeks. Everyone will be offered 2-week severance, plus additional severance based on their time with the company. And they will also be paying to continue healthcare coverage for their U.S. employees through the end of April, which is pretty commendable.
Yeah, it's honestly a very good thing that they're doing. So it's very sad to see Beyond the Summit go. Speaking as a person from the Smash community, the things that they have done for both Melee as well as like Smash 4, Ultimate, etc., cannot be overstated enough. It's just a real shame that, it kind of came down to this. We know that it's not just the scam that happened with FTX and the crash of the crypto market causing this, but it's also largely caused by the, kind of just exodus we're seeing from tech companies in general.
Yep.
And how the economic market for tech is just on a complete downswing.
Yeah, and esports, which aren't profitable for the most part, even to begin with, maybe on a local level. But
yeah,
it's not been profitable. Obviously, the venture capital funding, a lot of these esports teams going into cryptocurrency that not working out. Obviously, we saw 2 of the top tier Smash Ultimate competitive players, Tweak and MKLeo, getting dropped from their respective teams.
Yeah. I mean, that's crazy, too, because you got, for the most part, the top 2 players all time for the game.
Yeah.
And they're now, unsigned. So, it's just kind of the nature of everything that's happening in general. Not just to be on the summit, but the esports scene in general for Smash.
Yeah.
So, the only caveat I have to add at the end of this is just to make sure that, if you're, you still compete in Smash or, whatever, support your local scenes, guys. Because they're the lifeblood of the community. And the more you support your local, the longer the game's going to live on, even without having the legitimacy of a major worldwide esport. So,
yep. There are 2 final notes from this. BTS are putting together a spreadsheet of their staff with their contact info, work experience, and links to resumes and cover letters. And they will be publishing it once it has been reviewed and signed off by everybody, which is really fucking cool. They did not have to go out of their way to do that.
Yeah. Well, I think that there's a strong belief that everybody who works with Beyond the Summit's world class and whatnot.
Yeah, because I've heard nothing but...
company should really be looking at these employees.
Yeah, because I've heard nothing but incredible things about the world class presentation that goes into Beyond the Summit events.
Yeah, their production level is absolutely insane. So,
and speaking of their events, the final thing is that they will be running their final event, which is Smash Ultimate Summit 6, and complete all active contracts. We hope these projects can also serve as a bridge for some of our people as they figure out next steps. So yeah, that was the sad news of Beyond the Summit. Another hit to the Smash community, the Smash competitive community, and it's not looking good. But if anything bit more insane happens, we'll let you know. Hope God forbid VG Boot Camp shuts down or whatever.
Yeah, or Nintendo's just all right, no more locals allowed. That would be the true.
I don't think they could go after the locals. I don't even think they
could do that.
Yeah, I don't think they could. But
yeah.
Speaking of
moving on to our next bit of news.
Yeah. Speaking of things that happened, let's talk about Square Enix. Shall we, Slade, for a little bit?
Square Enix. So, the Luminous studio, the studio behind the Luminous engine, which was ran in Forspoken as well as Final Fantasy 15.
Yep.
And the development team behind Forspoken.
Yeah.
Has been shut down, and its employees are being integrated into Square Enix.
Yeah, the merger is part of the company's efforts to further bolster its competitive prowess. And the merger will be effective Monday, May 1st, 2023. Yeah, Forspoken wasn't necessarily a critical or commercial success by any means necessary.
Yeah, I think that's putting it lightly.
Yeah.
I think it flopped. I think it straight up flopped.
Yeah. Yes, it did, and yeah, Square's continuing quest to not have to rely on Unreal or Unity continues to flop.
Yeah, because I think at this point they're gonna have to move on from the Luminous engine, which, 0 for 2, 0 for 2 right now. But
yeah, 0 for 2.
That's not the only changes going on within the company of Square Enix.
Oh,
Byron
absolutely.
just informed me of this today.
Yeah.
It appears here that the director of Square Enix, Yosuke Matsuda, will be stepping down as director, and he will now be president and representative director of the company. And he will be replaced by Takahashi Kiryu instead.
Yeah, pending approval, this change will more than likely probably be happening, which is very interesting. Which is that's going to be quite the change. The change is to be officially finalized pending approval at the 43rd annual shareholders meeting scheduled for June of 2023, and the meeting of the board of directors to be held thereafter.
Also, I just realized that I abused Mr. Takashi's first name, so my apologies.
Yeah.
But ignoring that, I think that this change in leadership is probably due to the direction of the company just not being very strong in the past 2 or 3 years. We have the debacle with Tomb Raider, where they sold it off for $250 million to Embracer Group.
Yeah,
that same group flipped that IP, having done absolutely nothing with it, for $1.5 billion to Amazon. So
yeah, and they didn't just get Tomb Raider. They got, I know they got Square Enix Montreal, and I think they got like 2 other of Square's like Western studios that they have for the most part folded into the overall Embracer Group umbrella. And yes, that will be a name you will continue to hear about because they're everywhere, it seems.
Yeah, they're everywhere. But the fact that they took one thing they purchased out of that deal for like, what was it, $350 million dollars?
Yeah,
total?
somewhere around that $250-350 million range.
Tomb Raider by itself for $1.5 billion to Amazon.
Yeah, which is crazy.
Insane. Absolutely insane.
What a profit!
To me, that just reeks in ineptitude at Square Enix. But it's not just that; it's also the fact that in 2022 they didn't have a commercially successful game that necessarily sold, and now with Forspoken kind of crashing and burning as it is right now, right now the future is not bright at Square Enix. They're pretty much banking on Final Fantasy 16 being crazy massively successful.
That and Dragon Quest, I think it's 12 they're on now, I think.
Well, yeah, but I think in the short term they have Octopath Traveler 2 and Dragon Quest HD 3D, which is gonna be, there's 3 HD 2D. I don't know what it's called.
Yeah, but also when you said no successful 2022 games, I'm like, oh god damn it! Now that's making me depressed at how much potential Chocobo GP had as a competitor to Mario Kart. But
I mean, they tried to make it a live service game, and I just don't think that works for the racing genre.
Well, yeah, like Disney's learning that right now with Disney Speedstore.
And not even just that, but I also think that Mario Kart Tour isn't as financially successful as Nintendo would like it to be. Otherwise, we wouldn't be seeing these tour tracks being added to the Mario Kart 8 DLC pass.
Yeah, so. You know what? Full circle. We have gone full circle in a single episode.
Yeah. But that's not all the Square Enix news we have. We actually have a very interesting article from the producer of Final Fantasy 16. Byron, if you want to go ahead and go over that.
Yeah, so article via Eurogamer. about a recent skill up video which they had on Final Fantasy 16, which is getting some previews right now and all that stuff. But yeah, so Yoshida, aka Yoshi-P, as a lot of people know him by, talked about the term JRPG, which, for those who don't know, JRPG is Japanese role-playing game. So one thing Yoshida wants to get across is that when we create games, we don't go into them thinking we are creating JRPGs. We are just creating RPGs. The term JRPG is used by Western media rather than users in media in Japan, said localization director Koji Fox. Yoshida went on to explain that this is going to depend on who you ask, but there was a time when this term first appeared 15 years ago, and for us as developers, the first time we heard it, it was like a discriminatory term, as though we were being made fun of for creating these games. And so for some developers, the term JRPG can be something that will maybe trigger bad feelings because of what it was in the past. It wasn't a compliment to a lot of developers in Japan. We understand that recently, JRPG has better connotations and it's being used as a positive, but we still remember the times when it was used as a negative. He continued, I remember seeing something 15 years ago which was basically a definition of what a JRPG was versus a Western RPG, and it was kind of like Final Fantasy VII, and it had this type of graphics like a story and compartmentalization, what we were creating into a JRPG box, and taking offense to that because that's not how we're going into creating. What we are going into creating an RPG, but to become compartmentalized, that felt discriminatory.
Yes.
Yeah.
So this is all very fascinating stuff. I personally, myself, have never viewed saying, JRPGs or like referring to games as JRPGs as an insult.
Same.
But I understand where they're coming from, because I think for a lot of people, I think when you think of the term JRPG, you think of games with a anime like either like mechanic, story, or aesthetic.
Yeah, and that was a big thing in like Western social media and like game journalist reviews and stuff back during like the PS3 and the 360 era.
Yeah, well, even before that, because like JRPGs were like a thing even going as far back as like the Super Nintendo, the N64, and the PlayStation 1. I mean, Final Fantasy VII was his prime example, right?
Yeah.
So like overall, I just think it's really fascinating that hearing their take and opinion on the label of JRPGs.
Yeah.
I guess we'll probably start seeing, games referred to as RPGs as a whole. Probably not.
A funny thing is I saw a tweet from the Square Enix Twitter account promoting Octopath Traveler literally as a JRPG.
Yeah, so and we already know that account's run by one of their Western divisions, but like, no, it's just very fascinating stuff there, because again, I personally did not realize that the term JRPG was being used or being taken as some sort of insult. But I see where they're coming from. For a lot of people, when they see JRPG, they might think, oh, it's just anime trash or whatever.
Yeah, which
horribly wrong, by the way.
And maybe that's influenced a lot of the direction of some of these RPGs coming out of these Japanese developers and publishers. Who knows?
Because like when you think about it, like Final Fantasy has moved to real-time action since Final Fantasy 15. So this will be their second game in a row they've moved to real-time action.
Wasn't it 13 actually?
No, 13 was turn-based game still. It just had it was like Final Fantasy 7 where the turns had like time limits or whatever.
Okay.
But yeah, I think Final Fantasy 15 was their first main series Final Fantasy title that was real-time action. Obviously, lots of their spin-offs like Dirge of Cerberus and stuff too.
Yeah.
But I don't count those.
Oh, and speaking of that, Slade, Yoshida's response also adds context to the decision to choose real-time combat instead of turn-based, as he discussed the perception of JRPG combat. Quote, traveling around the world, speaking with fans and media about their image of the franchise, they would always give the same answer, that it's turn-based, anime-like, teenagers save the world, very JRPG, said Yoshida. This was the image for all Final Fantasy. This was turning off some players because they thought it could only be that, and that was a reason to not get into it. Another interesting point. Maybe I'm onto something.
At this point, we're getting a large divide in RPGs between like the real-time action RPGs we're seeing a lot more of today, and the old turn-based RPGs that were classics on the NES, the Super Nintendo, and so on and so forth. So,
yeah.
Overall, very fascinating interview. You guys should definitely look into that. It's with Skill Up.
Yep.
On their channel. So, there's a lot of very interesting stuff there to go over. So, I would definitely look into that.
Yeah, and speaking of very interesting stuff, our final topic for this news grab bag episode, EA, Electronic Arts, our favorite launcher to deal with. Look, we deal with the launcher only for Jose Fares and Hazelight Studios. But
all right, but more upon the EA news. So EA, over a Zoom call, laid off an entire division of QA testers for Apex Legends.
That's right. So, over 200 quality assurance testers at EA's Baton Rouge, Louisiana office were abruptly laid off during a surprise Zoom call on Tuesday. 3 sources familiar with the meeting tell Kotaku they worked primarily on Apex Legends QA testing. And we have a Twitter thread from a former QA staffer, Ben at TopMarks420, and he says, he had just gotten fired. They have been slowly hiring at studios elsewhere, but none of those people have any experience with the title, and the title obviously referring to Apex Legends.
That's correct.
His friend there said they were emailed about a Zoom meeting today. Their credentials were immediately revoked. They were paid 60 days severance. None of the managers were informed that their entire staff was getting cut. EA Baton Rouge had worked on Apex Legends since the beginning. The person who had trained this guy was the first to work on it, and they were proud of maintaining quality and secrecy for Apex Legends' surprise launch in 2019. The regular full-time people who work at EA and not the contractor are still there. Nobody working as a contractor had a contract. They're contractors because EA had a contract with Pro Unlimited, which I guess is a contracting company, who hired QA staff in a contractless position in a right-to-work state. 3 months contract length, extendable to a year, 3 contracts max. This is the industry standard for QA. They were getting shy of $18 an hour, and that was pretty good pay for QA. Ben worked as embedded QA now, and he only gets $14 an hour. Maybe EA didn't like how much they were making. The outsourced QA contractors in Romania are still working. They have been slowly hiring playtest teams across multiple time zones, which I wouldn't say is a bad thing. That's a pretty good thing, especially for these like always online games as a service games. You want to have like as little downtime as possible across all time zones, which I'm not saying that's a bad thing to have, but the QA team in UK was trained by EA Baton Rouge, and they're expected to take over, but they are small with very little experience with the title.
So let's summarize this because I feel like this is pretty important.
Yeah.
So essentially, they got laid off over a Zoom call shortly after they trained a very small and unprepared team to replace them.
Yes.
And their severance pay, which goes until April, doesn't cover the full marks of their contract, which most of the employees were contracted until June or July.
Yes.
So they're actually losing a lot of money that the company themselves signed on to pay and agreed to pay these employees. So
yeah, which
all in all, just EA proving once again that they're the scummiest company in the industry.
EA, goddamn EA. But yeah, and of course
can't get out of their own way.
Yeah, these layoffs, of course, are coming a month after EA had canceled Apex Legends Mobile as well as a Battlefield mobile game, which we covered the games as a service massacre when that happened.
Yeah, because a lot of those just straight up died off, but like Apex Legends is one of the more successful ones. So like,
yep.
To me, this is just EA showing their very scummy colors.
Yeah, this is EA. Well, first off, getting the time zone stuff, which again is not a bad thing necessarily to do. It's a pretty good thing to do. Make sure you have like QA testers in all time zones, so there's minimal downtime.
Yeah,
how they went about it.
Yeah, no, this is just incredibly scummy because again, they basically say, "Hey, we want you guys to train this smaller team. Okay, now you're gone. Bye."
Yeah, like at least let them finish out their fucking contracts. Like, come on, let them finish out
that's
their
what's
contracts.
crazy because like if you're gonna lay them off, at least honor the contract that you agreed to and signed to.
Yeah.
By the way, that's the thing about that's like crazy. Contracts have to be a two-way street. They can't just be, oh well, we decide we don't want to honor our end of the like contract or whatever. Because I guarantee you, if these testers were all like, yeah, we're going to unionize and we're not going to honor our contract, they get raked over the coals for it.
Yeah,
and they get absolutely screwed because hey, you signed the contract, you agreed to this, but they're at the same time there's a double standard for the fucking company not honoring the contract. I think it's really bullshit. So.
Yeah.
All in all, EA, they try to picture themselves lately as we're great with indie studios. Just look what we've done with Hazelight Studios and a bunch of all of our other indie studios.
Yeah.
But just remember, just when you think these companies are like turning a new leaf, no, all they care about is money, and they will do anything scummy or not to get more of it.
But yeah, that was it for the news grab bag of all the big and small stories that took place over the past week or so. But crazy times yet again in the gaming industry. Again.
So crazy week for news. Back on like the Square Enix stuff a little bit. Apparently, the director for Final Fantasy 16 also said that the new protagonist would be able to beat Dante in a fight. So,
interesting.
I thought that was pretty funny. Dante from Devil May Cry, that is. But no, like I said, Square Enix has got an absolute like crap ton writing on Final Fantasy 16. I think in terms of like their short term for the past 3 years, they really need this game to be successful.
Yeah.
But that's going to be it for the news this week. This has been Slade.
And this has been Byron, and we will see you all next week for more of that gaming news goodness. Bye-bye, everybody.